Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be discussing the archetype of the High Priestess, or La Papisa, the Popis, from the second major arcana of the Tarot. If we follow the order of the Magician being the first, the Fool being 0. So, first we'll talk briefly about the iconography and meaning behind this image. Then we'll explore how this particular archetype has been embodied by different figures throughout history, and particularly in the Americas. At the end, I'll share with you some examples of my own interpretations of this archetype through my own artwork. So, let's dive right into it. Previously, I discussed my explorations of the tarot archetypes of El Loco and El Mago, the Fool and the Magician, and how I interpret these in light of Latin American history, arts, and popular culture. Staying consistent with this focus in mind, we will revisit some of these themes through the lens of the High Priestess, or La Papisa. Now, in order to do so, we must first start with its European Renaissance roots. Traditionally, La Papisa, known as La Papis in the Tarot of Marseille, carries different meanings that have evolved over time. As we can see in this image, in the Tarot of Marseille, there's this representation of a female pope. The image corresponds to the story of the legendary Pope Juan, who disguised as a man who was elected pope during the 8th century. Her story has been denied by the church, and Juan's intellectual prowess was her most powerful weapon. For this reason, she is shown holding a book, learning being her greatest sin. Women, for the most part of history, have been excluded from the male-dominated religious and intellectual circles. This archetype therefore represents a challenge to an established monotheistic religion, in this case Christianity. With this brief background history in mind, we can safely assume we are facing a woman who refuses to be excluded from the highest religious order and defies the rigid patriarchal structures that deny women their rights to learn and be equal with men as spiritual leaders and teachers. This is therefore the prime feminist principal archetype. In Jungian psychology, she would be considered the anima Sophia, the highest expression of the anima, the feminine subconscious personality. Sophia is the Greek term for wisdom. In the Gnostic tradition, she is the feminine expression of the human soul, and one of the feminine aspects of God. In this aspect, wisdom is intuitive, esoteric, and sublime. According to Arthur Edward Waite, the co-creator of the famous Rider-Waite Tarot, this image represents secrets, mysteries, and unrevealed future. But we can also see how it can clearly relate to radical theories, new paradigms, proto-feminist ideals. Let's not forget that during the time of the troubadours in the Middle Ages, there was a reintroduction of the female and feminine principles into religion and cosmology. For many Catholics, the Blessed Virgin Mary is simultaneously revered as the Mother of God and also seen as an allegory to the Catholic Church. This idea started to flourish during the late Middle Ages, when most cathedrals carried the name of the Holy Mother of God. Like the Virgin Mary in the Annunciation scene, she can be seen holding the Book of Prophets. Her power is veiled and hidden. It is the face of uncertainty, the unrevealed future. She can also be seen as a wise old woman or grandmother figure who guards something old while containing the gift of prophecy. What sets this card apart from the previous two is its individuality. There are many jesters, many magicians, only one female pope, and it's a legend. Think about that for a moment. At the same time, she's represented by the number 2, and it is the initiation of the experience of duality and the feminine principle in the deck. The lack of clarity regarding her identity is a clue to her essence and meaning. Now think of the following ambiguity. She is both pagan high priestess and a Christian popess. Many theories, nothing clear. Legends and fiction mixed with some truth. To understand her, one must read between the lines, find subtleties, nuances, patterns, connections. Like an open book, she is open to written black marks on sheets of white paper, sometimes a scroll, sometimes a book, with 2 pages side by side, reflecting on the dual mindset. She considers the opposites. Her essence is paradox. She encompasses and embraces all, good and evil, life and death. She is a card of conjunctions. There is a hidden, dark side as well. This can be a card about fear, uncertainty, but also about beauty. The moon goddess essence runs through her veins. Moon power is very subtle. It is changeable and not predictable as the sun. She responds to the rhythms of nature, and particularly water. She is pure intuition rather than the systemic use of logic. Wearing Hathor's crown, she is like a veiled Isis and Mary, Mother of God. She sees both into our past and into our future. Like Isis recovering the dismembered body of Osiris, she remembers him. The restorative creative act of memory is a special province of the feminine principle. When we remember, we recreate someone's image. This is the very essence of every art form. With memories, we color and we give shape to our own identity while connecting with our hidden emotions, which puts us in contact with our feminine side, or what Jung would call the anima. The book in her hands is like a history book. Remembering is highly restorative and creative. She contains aspects of the muses Mnemosyne, mother of muses and muse of memory, as well as Historia, history, muse of history, and Urania, who through astrology is able to predict the future. In popular culture, she is the oracle in the Matrix films, inspired after the Oracle of Delphi of ancient Greece. The great secret of the oracle, as we all know, is contained in the ancient maxim, know thyself. By looking at the tarot, we are looking at tiny little paintings that act like little mirrors to the soul. By looking into the images of our deep collective unconscious, we come to know ourselves. Another popular image that comes to mind is that of the ethereal and elusive elf maiden Galadriel in J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, as depicted in the Peter Jackson films. We can also think of the fortune teller, street gypsy who reads the cards, the new age modern day priestess. She is the archetypal symbol for the moon and the unconscious. She is Mare, Mere, and Mari, water, the feminine soul or anima. Water represents intuition. This is pure, non-verbal, esoteric knowledge. Dark, mysterious, and hidden. Esoteric spirituality and intuition moves us towards an experience that we cannot put in words. It is just sacred silence. The High Priestess is often the gateway and messenger that brings inner wisdom to our unconscious mind. She represents the door to the occult sanctuaries. She signifies the hidden potential in our lives. Gestation. Like life concealed in the womb, her wisdom is hidden, passive, and silent. She operates with inner wisdom at its deepest level. Her wisdom comes from direct experience with initiation into the mysteries. When it comes to the High Priestess, or Papisa, a revolutionary female figure whom centered her life in spirituality comes to mind. Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz was a Mexican scholar, poet, and nun who lived during the colonial period in New Spain, that is, modern-day Mexico. She is considered by many as the first feminist of the Americas and defended in her writings women's rights to education. As one can expect, this was not well received by the church, and most of her works were destroyed. For her love of books, committed spiritual life, and strong conviction on women's rights, I decided to portray her as La Papisa in a painting I did back in 2013 as part of the series titled Devocionales, Neocolonial Retablo Paintings from an Archetypal Perspective. Connecting the image of Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz with the image of the Popis, the second major arcana from the Tarot, presents an opportunity to address the spiritually empowered feminine archetype, in defiance of the patriarchal church. La papisa stands for her right to speak her mind freely and even become a beacon of knowledge to the rest of humanity, while freeing herself from the imposed religious institutions and traditions that for so long have defined her. Now, in the Tarot Neocolonial de las Americas, published by US Games, I decided to explore a different route, a different representation of this archetype. On this card, we see the image of an Afro-Caribbean priestess holding an open book while sitting on a chair with two palm-like pillars, while the coastal scene in the background reflects on the dual nature earth-water of this card. The images on her book show an ankh, the ancient Egyptian symbol of life, and Our Lady of Montserrat. These images speak of life and life-giving potential transcending time and culture. A bottle of water, a seashell, cow skull, a book at her feet symbolize the hidden knowledge of life and death. There's also a plugged electronic device. A large antenna further behind reflects on the receptive nature needed in order to understand her message. Behind her, a hanging fabric with the moon and stars symbolize the power of dreams, nightly visions, and the subconscious mind. We should put our own devices down for a moment and be free from distractions. We should be warned not to be carried away with fantasizing and daydreaming all day. Take time to meditate and listen to your soul in silence. Nurture your inner child. The Popess offers us a secret lunar mystery. She also invites us to appreciate what we have, our past experiences, lessons, and to be thankful for the people in our lives. She entices us to be reflective and calmly examine our own inner lives and how we could improve while conducting ourselves in this world. She teaches us to be patient, tolerant, and silent when we need to be silent. On the other hand, we must be careful not to remain too passive. Reflect on past mistakes, yes. Learn your lesson, yes, but move on. She advises us to keep a journal. Record, document your memories, write your dreams. Enjoy the feeling and mystery of not knowing what's behind the veil. Like a voodoo queen, she invites us to heal ourselves. Listen to your guiding spirits. Look deep within yourself to find the answers you're searching for. And that concludes this episode of this series where we're exploring the different archetypes of the major arcana and the tarot. I really hope you enjoyed. Thanks a lot for listening or watching. And if you like this, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.